We went to the Burbank Card Show with the goal of doing $20,000 in buying and selling. We went with the goal of picking up some very specific cards. How did we do? What did we sell? And what did we pick up? Find out next. Hey guys, it's Mr. Hollywood and welcome back into another episode here at the Hollywood Rips studio. On today's episode, we are talking about or summarizing the Burbank Card Show. Now, we attended the Burbank Card Show last weekend, Friday through Sunday. Well, we weren't there on Sunday. We were there Friday and Saturday. Amazing event. It was put on at the Anaheim Convention Center, of course, hosted by Burbank Sports Cards. The room was, I believe it was around 120,000 square feet. There were vendors everywhere. There was tens of millions of cards. If you were going through the display cases, you could see all the cards in the displays if you had the whole weekend, but there was no way you were getting through some of the value stuff, honestly, in the amount of time that you're given every day. It's hard to really put into perspective how many hours you can walk around a show like that and truly not come close to seeing everything. But first things first, how were the accoutrements to the show? What do I mean by accoutrements? I mean, not the show itself. How were the logistics? Were there lines? How were the bathrooms? Were there bathroom lines? Food options, drink options? No lines. Number one, I think was awesome. There wasn't a line anywhere at all. Not to get in, not to get out, not to go to the bathroom. There wasn't really even lines really at vendors per se. There were food trucks just outside the lobby right out front. There was a coffee station there. For the most part, you could easily stay there the whole day, which is exactly what we did. What types of people were there? We saw every age demographic you can possibly imagine. Maybe that's not a surprise. We saw grandparents there with their grandkids. We saw dads and moms, and we saw 6-year-olds, and we saw like actual toddlers, with their earmuffs on. Vendors ranged all ages, genders, races as well. What was the dispersion of the stuff there? I would say it was like 65 to 70% sports cards and sealed wax. I'd say it was like 25, maybe 20 to 25% Pokemon and TCG. And then the other 5 to 10% was just various memorabilia, signed jerseys, signed photos, signed bats and balls and helmets and this and that. I did have an interesting conversation with Rob. Of course, Rob is the owner of Burbank Sports Cards. I was just, congratulating him on another amazing event, another huge turnout. And he was exhausted. And it's not, that's not a surprise. I mean, he's in the process of obviously moving into a 14,000 square foot space. New 14,000 square foot space in the Valley. They did purchase a Rite Aid. They're gonna move 40 million cards into there. They're gonna move their shop over there. And then meanwhile, while all this is going on, Rob has to throw the biggest sports card show on the West Coast, realistically. Speaking of which, he did tell me, and he has announced it since then, but they are rebranding this to the West Coast Card Show. So this is kind of gonna be the marquee card show powered by Burbank Sports Cards on the West Coast. They're also moving to a different exhibition room at Anaheim Convention Center next year. It will be 250,000 square feet. So the room is gonna be twice as big. That's a big deal because I'm telling you, I was sore after walking around all day. I must have done 5 miles walking circles in that room every day, if I'm being totally honest with you. But before we go into how we did on our goal to buy $20,000 worth of cards at this show, we do have some card show rules that we like to follow in order to make shows more palatable for us, not just in terms of price, but to kind of break it down and have more specific goals. Otherwise, it's just too much and you're just overwhelmed. I'm telling you, if you go in with no goals, there's so much stuff there that you will be truly in a world where you have no idea, like, where to even start. So number one, we say have goals. Ours were very, very clear for this show for the most part. We'll show the video shortly from the actual card show of explaining what our goals were that day. We were trying to be a little quiet and courteous. There was people sitting kind of all around us. I know you're not gonna see it in the camera shot, but I also don't really like sticking cameras in vendors' faces or having cameras walking all over the place inside. So I typically don't videotape any sort of negotiation, stuff like that, at least for now. But so yeah, have goals. Number one, that's number one. Number two, don't always have a budget per se. I think have a budget, but have flexibility within that budget. And what do I mean by that? I mean, know what your budget is in cash, but then also know what your budget could be in terms of, say, selling slabs you already have or trading slabs that you already have, okay? My number three tip to you is understand that when you're at a card show, you're not paying tax, you're not paying shipping, you're not paying fees, okay? So when you're asking for crazy comps or when you're asking for $300, $400 below comps on a $1,500 card or on a $2,000 card, they really have no reason to accept that, because even if you bought that card for $200 below comps online, you're gonna pay shipping, tax, fees. It's all gonna add up to more than you pay anyways at the show, even if you pay the actual comp at the show. So that's number three. So really quick, we're just gonna run this video of us at the card show in the lobby waiting to go in on Saturday morning. We had already been in on Friday when we filmed that, mind you. So it'll make a little more sense, but here's what our goals were for that weekend. Coming to you from the Burbank Card Show. Of course, we always have multiple goals with every card show. I think it's important that you have goals when you come to a card show. It's not always about spending a lot of money, a lot of cash. Obviously, these things do cost a lot of money. What were my goals coming into this weekend? Well, of course, as many of you guys know, we do personally collect Shohei Ohtani cards. So we are always trying to make our Ohtani collection not necessarily bigger, but definitely better. And how do we do that? Well, we take cards that we already have, per se, and we sell them and take that cash and put them into other cards of the same player that are bigger. So you don't necessarily always need a huge handful of cash. What are the goals for today? Number one, we are trying to pick up a 2018 Shohei Ohtani green refractor autograph, the hitting one, in a PSA 9. That card last sold for $9,500. I do not have that much cash with me, but I do have some cards that I'm gonna try to unload in order to do so. What else are we trying to do today? We are also trying to pick up a 2003 SPX LeBron James RPA. We already have one, but we're trying to upgrade that card. Ours is just authentic. We are looking for a BGS 9 of that. What else are we trying to do? We're trying to find a 2000 Tom Brady Bowman Chrome rookie card and a PSA 9. So that is basically our three main goals. We did accomplish one goal yesterday, which was to get a Ohtani rookie autograph number /25. That one was on card out of Topps Brooklyn collection. We traded a PSA 10 Ohtani Sapphire card for that, as well as a pink refractor. Those were valued about probably around $3,600. Felt it was a pretty fair trade to get an Ohtani autograph. But what are we going to try and sell today in order to make this happen? We've got this. This is a 2018 clearly authentic Shohei Ohtani rookie autograph on an acetate card numbered /75. This is a BGS 9 with a 10 autograph. That's number 1. We're gonna try and sell this 2018 Cornerstones Shohei Ohtani rookie auto in a PSA 9. This is numbered out of 99. We've got the 2022 Topps Chrome Juan Soto Orange Speckle short print, super short print in a PSA 10. We've got the 1954 Topps Jackie Robinson, absolute classic in a PSA 4.5. We've got a 61 Topps Mickey Mantle in a PSA 4. We've got the 2023 Topps Silver Pack Frank Thomas, of course, Hall of Famer for the White Sox. This is a PSA 9. It is autographed and numbered out of 35. And then probably 3 of the bigger ones we're gonna use here. We have a Steph Curry rookie autograph out of Panini's Studio Signature Series. This is numbered out of 199. It is a BGS 8.5 with a 10 on the autograph. We got a Bryce Young. This guy's been hot the last few weeks, but Bryce Young in an Arena Club 10 on the acetate zoom. And the card that we are trying to upgrade, like we told you earlier, is this LeBron James SPX rookie autograph. Ours is authentic with an autograph grade of 10. I know for a fact there's one in there that is a BGS 9 with an autograph of a 10. They're asking $6,000. We're gonna try and get them closer to $5,000. We'll see what happens. But that is the basic plan. Those are the slabs that we're gonna sell. And we'll update you. I don't really like putting cameras in people's faces. So we're gonna go in there. We're gonna see what we can get for these, and we will see if we can leave with all 3 of those slabs. We'll update you then. So how do we actually fare on our goal? The cards that we mentioned before, it would have cost us, if we just went straight in cash, it probably would have cost us somewhere around $20,000 to pick up the cards that we wanted to pick up. Remember, we did not have that much in cash. We needed to sell a lot in order to complete that $20,000 worth of cards. Full disclosure, we had like $6,000 in cash, I wanna say, something like that going in to this show. So if, you know, that kind of gives you an idea of where we were at cash-wise and what we were looking for trading or selling wise to get to $20,000 liquid. But let's start with the Ohtani green. Let's start with the Ohtani 2018 Bowman Chrome green autograph, the hitting version of that in a PSA 9. PSA 9 and autograph grade of 10. When I went in there on Friday, he had it priced for $12,000, which in all honesty, I really don't necessarily think is horrific, but the last comp did $9,500. We'll throw the comp on the screen now. That's the one that I was looking at. I did feel that this comp was low, but it was interesting because I talked to him on Friday and I kind of floated that 9,500 cash number out to him, and he sounded very receptive to it. He kind of perked up and said, oh, like, are you offering 9,500? Like, is it cash? And I said that would probably be where I would be at. I would have to sell a few things to get there, but I'd probably be at 9,500 cash. I'd probably take that deal. And so I didn't get it that night because it was already pretty late and my fiance was with me and I didn't want to keep her there for hours and hours. So I put it on the back burner and I came back on Saturday to talk to him about it. That's when I filmed that video of what I was gonna sell in order to try and get that in the low to mid 9s. I realistically would have even paid, I would have paid 10 for that. I would have paid 10.5 for that, to be totally honest with you, probably. Just when you think of taxes and fees, I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer if that's what you're into, right? Like, we're big on Ohtani cards, and so, for us, it made a lot of sense because we were essentially going to be selling Ohtani autographs to get into a bigger Ohtani autograph. But what happens when I go in there on Saturday morning, I start talking to the guy, and all of a sudden the guy is like, yeah, like 9,500 is actually, actually it's like way too low. Like someone offered me, he said like someone offered me 11,000 cash for it already. And I was kind of like, well, why didn't you take that? And he, you know, I said, why didn't you take it? That's, you know, 20% over comp. And he said, I'm well aware that's 20% over comp. And he was just like a total brick wall at that point. And you could just tell that he just, at that point, I don't know what happened in those 24 hours, but he was just not willing to sell the card. Just was not willing to sell the card for what I thought was a reasonable price. But what was our second, let's see, that was goal number 1, we failed. What was goal number 2, but it also saved us a lot of money. Goal number 2 was really any Ohtani rookie autograph. We always try to pick up Ohtani rookie autographs, and we did find someone who had an Ohtani rookie autograph that we did not have yet, and that is, so I have some of the cards out on the table that I was looking to sell. We obviously did not sell any of these. This is the one that we were trying to upgrade, but this kind of might give you a hint as to what worked out and what didn't. But we did find this right here. This is a 2018 Topps Brooklyn Collection Shohei Ohtani autograph rookie card, numbered out of 25, on-card autograph. This is on-card, not a sticker. In a PSA 9, the pop count on this is obviously very low. It's numbered out of 25. So this was probably our biggest pickup of the weekend. How did we make this happen? What did it cost? The vendor was asking, honestly, what I thought was pretty reasonable. He was essentially asking $3,700. Well, it wasn't essentially. He was asking $3,700, basically. I didn't want to spend, you know, 60% or 65% of the cash that I had within the first 30 minutes on this card necessarily. And so I kind of felt it out a little bit, was trying to see if he'd be willing or open to a trade, and he actually was. So what did I end up trading for this? Well, I traded first let's look at the comps, okay? This card is hard to comp, this one that I did pick up from him. The last sales price, as you can see on PWCC, was $3,240, but that sale was over a year ago. So I value it closer to $4,000 personally. He had it at $3,700, which I thought was very reasonable, honestly. But what did we trade? We traded a 2018 Topps Chrome Sapphire Edition Shohei Ohtani rookie card in a PSA 10. These are the comps on your screen now for that card. It's about a $3,000 card. Usually sells anywhere between 3 and 3.3, really, on any given day. I kind of had the value at like 3,200, realistically. And then we also traded him a 2018 Topps Chrome Ohtani pink refractor, the same card, but the pink refractor. These are the comps from that pink refractor. They sell all the way from 400 up to 500. So we kind of had that comped at 500. We had the blue Sapphire card comped at 3,200. That got us to 3,700. Of course, he didn't want to make a straight deal. So I think I gave him like $100 in cash or something as well. But my reasoning for making a deal like this is it's always very easy for me to go on to eBay or wherever and pick these cards up again, right? I could easily pick up an Ohtani Sapphire PSA 10 if I really wanted to. The pop count's well over 100. The pink refractor, same thing. Pop count is way higher. It's not autographed. So to me, trading those two cards and $100 in cash and coming up with an on-card rookie autograph number to 25 of Ohtani was a great deal. And to me, probably my best deal of the weekend. So I was pretty happy with that, honestly. This guy was a true seller. It's nice when you find someone who's a true seller at a card show. What do I mean by true seller? I mean by someone who actually is trying to sell the card, and they're not necessarily emotional about it. It's all about the numbers. He clearly bought the card for darn close to what the comp was last year. Okay, he clearly did. Otherwise, he would never accept, say, $3,800 in cash value for this card. He had to have bought it, my guess, is probably somewhere between 32 and probably 32 and 34 maybe is my guess. So he probably netted like $400 on this deal, which is the only reason he probably did it. Because I went to his booth, said hi to him the next day. He had both of my cards for sale, literally at comps, $3,200 and $500. So that was kind of big deal, number one. He was a true seller. He was by the numbers. We appreciate people like that. You want to find people like that at shows that aren't emotional about it. They're there only with the numbers. So this was our first big pickup. Next, let's talk about this SPX LeBron James rookie card. RPA. This is PSA Authentic with an autograph grade of 10. We were trying to upgrade this to a BGS 9. I did see one on the very first day of the show. They were asking $6,000 for it. This card in my hand comps around $3,500 to $3,600. So the SPX LeBron though, we'll throw the sale or the comp on the board for the BGS 910. That card comps realistically at $5,500. So we're hoping to get it at $5,500. And we were hoping to upgrade this card. But what happened the second day we went in there, I could not find that vendor. I don't know, I don't think it was a scenario where the card was sold. I legitimately don't think the vendor was there. I mean, I cased out the whole place for 7 hours looking for this, and I could not find it. The only one I could find was a PSA 10 version of this, which was asking $16,000. I wasn't exactly about to drop 16K on it, so that is a lesson. If you see something really specific, like I was very specifically trying to upgrade this card, which is numbered at a 750. It's a rare card and it had the exact BGS 910 that I wanted. If you see something that specific, figure out a way to make it happen like on the spot, seriously, because it can either get sold or that vendor disappears or you can't find them because these shows are so gigantic. So we ended up holding on to this. We will upgrade this card later. One of our favorite things to do is upgrade cards that we already have. Let's move on to the next card we picked up at this show, and it's a card we've wanted for a long time, and it is this 2000 Bowman Chrome Tom Brady in a PSA 9. We also would have taken a BGS 9.5. I did find someone who had a true 9.5, which means all 4 subgrades are 9.5. BGS, he was asking $4,500 for it, but this card in a BGS 9.5 comps at $3,500, $3,600 all day. Here are the comps for the BGS version. He just told me, I offered him cash, what the card is worth, $3,500. And he said, to be honest with you, I'm underwater on this card already, and I'd rather just stay underwater on a card like this. When you hear something like that, you know that that type of seller is not gonna be negotiable, really, and that they have an emotional part attached to it. There is an emotional attachment to that card. If you're asking $4,500 for a card that is worth $3,500 and you're telling your customer that you are underwater and you would rather stay underwater, you are basically saying, I am emotionally attached to this card, I paid too much for it, and I'd rather just hold it than take a loss on it. Someone who's there to actually sell would sell for cash money in hand $3,500 and say, you know what, I lost 500 bucks on this. It's not the end of the world. I'll make it back on the other 400 cards I have in my case. Just didn't happen. But we did find someone that had a PSA 9 version of this card. He actually had like 6 of them. They were asking $2,500 for it. We ended up paying $2,200 for it. Straight up cash, very close to comps. These are the comps on the PSA 9 that are on your screen now. So we paid very close to comps, but you have to remember, this is a card I've wanted for a long time, and you have to remember, paying $2,200, paying comps at a card show in cash is really not necessarily a bad thing, right? You don't have to always be below comps, because I'm not paying taxes, I'm not paying fees, I'm not paying shipping, right? I'm handing him the cash that I would have paid on, say, eBay, right? Or wherever, Golden Auctions, whatever. There's no buyer's premium, none of those fees. I get to hold the card in my hand and leave that booth with that card immediately. To me, it's worth it. So that's another card we picked up for $2,200 right there. Next, let's talk about something I was not expecting to end up with, but it is a very legendary card that I've always wanted. It is the 1986 Fleer Michael Jordan. This is, of course, an altered PSA version. Has good eye appeal though. That's kind of why I decided to go for it. The guy wanted $2,100 for it. I was really more in like the $1,800 range based on the condition. So we ended up coming to a deal. I bought this from him for $1,800 in cash, plus I threw in a Bryce Young Zoom in an Arena Club 10. The PSA 10 does like $300. The Arena Club, I'm gonna guess, is probably closer to the mid twos or low twos because it's not PSA, because it's Arena Club. So I threw that one in to make this happen because I didn't want to buy like a $7,000 or $8,000 BGS 9 of this, or sorry, a PSA 8 of this for like $7,000 or $8,000, or BGS 9 for like $9,000. But what this does is it gets me started, and I now have the ability to upgrade this card over time. So I thought it was kind of cool to get a Jordan 86 Fleer for under $2K. We did, of course, use the Bryce Young Zoom in order to get that. Now let's talk about a card I don't have with me. It's actually with PSA. I actually went to PSA this morning to give them a bunch of cards to be slabbed, but I picked up this Jordan Addison 1/1 NFL Shield autograph for $400. I think Sam Darnold is actually not as bad as people think, and Jordan Addison's 1/1 Shield autos were doing well into the thousands during the season last year. I think if he has a good season this year, or even replicates what he did last year, I think this card could very well be a $1,000 plus card again within the next, say, 7 to 8 weeks, possibly. Of course, depends how he does. That was one that we were not expecting to pick up, but we did end up picking up. We just thought it was too good to pass up. Probably one of the best young receivers in the NFL, rookie shield for under 500 bucks. I mean, that seemed like a good deal to me. Now, last card that we picked up was this baby right here. This is a Jamar Chase rookie Kaboom in a PSA 9. We picked this one up. I'll put comps on the screen. Now, as we get closer to the season, remember that prices are gonna keep going up. And comps, I've seen this card sell in the sixes, as the comps show. We picked this up for $700 flat. I think, could we have done $650? I mean, maybe, but honestly, 50 bucks, whatever. No fees, no tax, again. Joe Burrow's healthy not for the first time, but Joe Burrow's healthy again at the beginning of this year. That's a huge deal. I think he is the real deal. And I think Jamar Chase, he had a really slow start to the year, but a fantastic end of the year. I think Jamar Chase is an ultra buy right now. I think this is a $1,000 card. come middle of the season when Jamar is roasting secondaries across the league and Joe Burrow is throwing for 300 plus and 3 TDs every game. I really think there is upside on Jamar Chase. So we picked up a Jamar Chase Kaboom for $700. So what was the summary? The summary was we bought about $8,800 worth of cards. We sold around $5,100 worth of cards. We did sell, well, we traded and sold $5,100 worth of cards. We sold a Mickey Mantle 61 Topps PSA 4, which you can see on your screen now, or comps for it. We sold a 54 Jackie Robinson in a 4.5, PSA 4.5. You can see comps on your screen now for that. We sold, obviously we traded the Bryce Young Zoom. We traded the Ohtani Sapphire and Pink Refractor in PSA 10s. So we did about $14,000 total worth of deals at this particular show. What did we pay in cash for these 4 cards on top of what we sold and traded? So we ended up basically buying these 4 cards plus the Jordan Addison 1/1 NFL Shield for like $3,800 in cash, essentially, is what we did at this show. Remember, I'm not a dealer. I'm a collector. I'm there to expand my collection, not necessarily make money hand over fist, right? I mean, obviously we still spent more money than we sold, but for me, to add an Ohtani rookie auto to 25 or less, a Brady rookie, a Jordan rookie, a super high upside Kaboom, and another high upside Shield 1/1 for basically like $3,700 in cash, basically when you factor into what we sold and what we traded. In my opinion, it was an awesome weekend. But remember, have a budget and clear goals. Remember what you would pay in tax, shipping, and fees if you bought or sold online when you're comping stuff at shows. If someone offers you like 80% at a show, you realize like you sell it on eBay, you're gonna get hit with 13% fees. So like that extra 7%, I mean, is it really the end of the world for you not to get that? In my opinion, you're always better off being more liquid quicker at shows than like being a comp stickler down to like the last dollar. But know how you're gonna get to know how you're gonna get to comp prices. Meaning you have to factor all those fees in. You just do. But what other tips do we have? Go early. Find people that are actual sellers that aren't emotional about it. If you see something specific, make it happen early. And for us, for example, we've always wanted a Brady rookie and a Jordan rookie. I don't want to spend $7,000 on a PSA 10 of this. I don't want to spend $200,000 on a PSA 10 of this. But you have to start somewhere, right? I'm now in a position where I own this, and I can now upgrade this to a BGS 9.5 really anytime I want for $3,500 basically, minus what it would cost to sell this. So let's say I sold this for $2,200 and I need to get to a BGS 9.5 at $3,500. I only have to now pay $1,300 to upgrade this to a 9.5. Just like this one, I'm into this card for $1,800, but if I do decide I want to go out and pick up a PSA 8, which is a pretty high graded version for say $7,000, I at least know that I have like a couple $1,000s now of wiggle room or negotiation room built into it. So it's one of my favorite things to do at a card show is upgrade cards that you already have. And I think it's something that's overlooked a lot. But what else? Have fun. Don't take things too personally. It can be emotional, even for vendors, remember. But yeah, that'll do it for me on today's episode. Hope you enjoyed a recap of the Burbank Card Show, what we picked up, what my tips and tricks for getting into new cards or bigger cards, and just in general card show tips. Hope you've been enjoying our Hobby HQ and Cardboard Critics split episodes as well. I think we're able to just get like way more detail in by having them split. Yeah, so until next time, we'll see you right back here at Hollywood Rips. Thanks for watching. Mr. Hollywood, out.